Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. As always, my name is Harmon. Today's video is all about the Covina, California massacre that ended up killing 9 people. The perpetrator's name was Bruce Pardo, and Bruce Pardo ended up murdering his ex-wife and 8 of her family members. Now the date was Christmas Eve 2008. It was about 11:30 p.m. Bruce Pardo was dressed as Santa Claus and arrived at his ex-wife Sylvia Pardo's house, where she had a gathering with about 20 or 25 other people there. As soon as he got to the house, he knocked on the door. He was armed with a gift wrapped package containing a homemade flamethrower on a trolley and 2 9mm handguns, and he also had 2 additional handguns on his person as well. As soon as the doors opened, his 8-year-old niece named Katrina Yusuf-Polsky, he shot her immediately in the face. She did not die, she was injured. But then he continued on firing at his ex-wife and her family members. After he shot everyone, he grabbed his homemade flamethrower and ended up setting the house on fire. The 9 people either died from gunshot wounds or the fire, or potentially both. Several other of the family members survived, including a 16-year-old who was shot in the back, and a 20-year-old woman who ended up jumping out the 2nd floor window, broke her ankle. The fire was seen pretty far away. The flames got upwards of like 50 feet in the air. The 9 family members who were killed were Sylvia Ortega Pardo, and again, she was Bruce's ex-wife. She was 43 years old. She died from gunshot wound. Other victims were Alicia Sotomayor Ortega. She was Bruce's mother-in-law. She was 70 years old, and she died from a gunshot wound to the abdomen. Next was Joseph Ortega. He was 80 years old. He was Bruce's father-in-law, and he died from multiple gunshot wounds. Next was 49-year-old Charles Ortega. He was a brother-in-law of Bruce. Doesn't give cause of death, so it could have been from the gunshot or from the fire. Next was Sherry Ortega. She was 45. She was a sister-in-law of Bruce's. Next was James Ortega. He was also a brother-in-law of Bruce's. He was 51. Then there was Teresa Ortega. She was 52. She was a sister-in-law of Bruce's. Next was 46-year-old Alicia Ortega. She was a sister-in-law of Bruce's as well. And last victim was Michael Ortiz. He was 17, and he was Bruce's nephew. And it says Michael died from the fire as opposed to the gunshots. Now, many of you are probably asking yourselves, why on earth would Bruce go to his ex-wife's house and kill her as well as, 8 other of her family members? And I was wondering that myself. It looks like police believe the main motive of the attack was, of course, related to marital problems. His wife, Sylvia, they got divorced after about 1 year or so. They obviously hadn't been married long, and it obviously didn't work out. Sylvia and Bruce got married in January 2006. They grew apart from their marriage soon after they got married, as I guess Bruce was refusing to open up a joint bank account with her. He also expected her to take care of her own 3 children that she had from a previous marriage. In June 2008, about 5 or 6 months before the massacre, a divorce court had ordered Bruce to pay about $1,700 in spousal support. During the divorce proceeding, Bruce told a friend that his wife, now ex-wife, had basically taken him to the cleaners. In other words, he thought that she was taking advantage of him and taking all of his money in the divorce. Another judge ordered him to pay, I guess, $10,000. And according to Bruce, this is Bruce's words, he states that Sylvia was living with her parents, not paying rent, spent money on a car and gambling trips to Las Vegas. And so he was, I guess, pissed that she was basically spending all this money and he had to still pay her. This is called Forest Lawn Cemetery, and it's here in Covina, California. This is where the victims are buried. So we're going to show you the graves right now. Now, I had to clean off their graves, as their graves were completely covered pretty much from dirt and just old grass and everything. All right, so first one we're coming to is Sylvia, and again, this was Bruce's ex-wife, Sylvia Ortega. All right, guys, next is Joseph Ortega. Again, he was Bruce's father-in-law and, of course, Sylvia's father. He was 80 years old. So next is Alicia Ortega. She, of course, was Bruce's mother-in-law, and she was Sylvia's mom. She was 70. Next was Bruce's nephew, again 17 years old, Michael Ortiz. Next is Alicia Ortiz. She was Bruce's sister-in-law. Now, her headstone and grave here is kind of partially covered by an actually active grave right next to it. I've actually never seen the inside of what the grave looks like. But anyway, yeah, so it's, again, her headstone and grave is kind of partially covered by this open grave here, so you can kind of barely make out her name here. It says Alicia. Next we have Teresa and James Ortega next to each other. Again, these were brother and sister-in-law, also of Bruce's. After the massacre, Bruce put on his normal clothes and drove his rental car to his brother's house about 30 miles away. He killed himself with one shot to the head. His brother was not home at the time, but he killed himself in his brother's house. Potentially he was looking at maybe just going to Illinois or Canada. The police, of course, found his body covered in third-degree burns from the flamethrower torch he used. They found $17,000 in cash strapped to his legs. All right, guys, we're coming up to Knoll Crest Drive here in Covina, California. And at the end of this road is 1129 Knoll Crest Drive. And this is where Bruce Pardo went in and killed 9 people. And the house here is basically at the end of this cul-de-sac. So again, we'll be kind of brief showing you the house here, but of course wanted to show you where, of course, this terrible, terrible massacre happened. Now, it is a very lovely area, very lovely neighborhood, but as we've all seen, if you've been on my channel for a while, you've known Doesn't matter where you live, things happen. All right, we're coming up here. I believe it's going to be the house coming up here to the left. Again, it's 1129 East Knollcrest. Yep, it is this one right here. This unfortunately was the setting of that terrible massacre. 1129 East Knollcrest. It's been a long day. I have a lot more cases to film, so I'm gonna head out of here. Thank you for watching. If you're new around here, again, my name's Harmon. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Keep the families of all the victims in your thoughts and prayers, as I guess 13 of the children of the different family members who were killed were kind of left as orphans, as either one or both of their parents were killed in the massacre. So that's a tragedy in itself. But anyway, thank you guys. See you soon.